Just I read a book. This is many, many years ago. It was a Christian book. I can't even remember what the name was. I'm talking about 20 years, maybe even longer ago. There was this little boy, and it was still in the days when they used to walk around in England, London, and light the oil lamps with the long sticks as it got dark at night. And this little boy saw this for the first time, and he ran home and he says, "Mommy, mommy, there's an uncle poking holes in heaven." And it was just as these oil lamps started burning, he saw this as poking a hole in heaven. What we want to share this morning, a new dimension of living in His presence, meeting the reality of Jesus in His Word. You know, we hear such a lot about His presence. We hear such a lot of just studying the Word. But that the dimension of living that presence, the dimensions of living the Word, we never hear about, because that's the difficult part. It's good to speak about these things and hear it. They tingle your ears and give you new ideas for a couple of hours. You know, over the years of ministry, I've been invited to many churches to come and listen to many pastors when they've had visiting preachers, conferences. All great, all great. Over time, I've attended many such invitations. Even nowadays, I'll go. Yeah, very selective. And I've learned a lot. We all learn things all the time. Over the last years of my life, I've not been looking for new sermons in my life from different churches or different pastors. I haven't been looking at that. I think I've written thousands of sermons. I've been preaching now for 34 years, I think. There was about 15 years when we just started our church, when I used to do morning and evening services. So yes, I've done a lot of investigation and a lot of studying. I've been searching the scriptures for a new dimension of living. That's what I've been searching for the last couple of months. It's all great to hear all these sermons, to read through the sermons, to go on YouTube, Facebook, wherever they post these things, and go and read them. It's all great. But do you receive a new dimension of living in His presence through this? I'm not talking about for a short while, I'm talking about ongoing. And this morning I want to share a couple of scriptures. And we're going to look at these scriptures and the reaction of these people according to what we're going to read in the scriptures. And none of them was, if you were to put right on a scale of 1 to 10, none of them were 10 and none of them were 1. They were all good. They all had their own idea about things. And let's look at Mark 9, 21 to 24. And he asked his father, "How long has this been happening?" This is Jesus speaking to the father of the son that was demon-possessed. And Jesus said, and he asked his father, "How long has this been happening to him, the son?" And he said, "From childhood. It has often thrown him both into the fire and into the water to destroy him. But if you can," listen to the words, what the Father says, "if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us. In other words, the father, excuse me, the father is suffering just as much as the child. Help him and help me, help us, if you can do anything. And Jesus said to him, if you can, all things are possible to him who believes. Now this verse 24 is the crux that we've got to get into ourselves. Immediately the boy's father cried out and said, I do believe, help my unbelief. Okay? I do believe, but I'm not living in his presence. So because of that, my faith in my belief is not strong enough. My faith in my belief is not strong enough. So help that area of my faith in my belief. How strong is your and my faith in our belief? How strong is it? When we go through those dark times, when we go through difficult patches, I believe I'm going to get through it. But how strong is my faith that it is going to happen soon? Am I still going to live with it for years? No. My faith must be strong that I'm going to be healed, if not immediately, but I'm going to be healed soon. I do not have to walk with this. How strong is your faith in your belief that the impossible is possible? That's what was happening here with his father and his son when Jesus arrived. The father was looking for the impossible, but his faith wasn't strong enough that the impossible could happen. I do believe it can take place. But help me in my unbelief. Help me. Many of us walk around today with issues, with darkness, with problems. And we believe someday it's going to be okay. It can be okay right now. It can be okay right now. We've got to build our faith living in his presence. Whenever Jesus healed anybody that came to him, it was immediate. It was immediate. And how many times did Jesus say, we're going to see one or two of those scriptures, your faith has healed you. Your faith has healed you. You believed that I could do it, but the faith in you has healed you. How strong is our belief in our faith? We need to be connected to his presence at all times. We need to be connected to the presence of God at all times, so that faith level in us can be built up. We need to build up our faith level. Let's look at the woman with the issue of blood. Totally different scenario, but the same problem. Mark 5:26-29. And had endured much at the hands of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was not helped at all, but rather had grown worse. This is this woman with the issue of blood. She had spent all her money on physicians, with all their ideas and so on, to heal her. But the situation just grew worse. After hearing, she didn't meet Jesus. After hearing about Jesus, she came up in the crowd behind him and touched his cloak. You know, in biblical times, if you had an issue with blood and hemorrhage, you were put outside the city gates because there was no healing for that. And the problem was that They believed if that blood got onto you, you'd have the same sickness, permanent bleeding. So they were put outside the city gates. So she was actually putting her life further in danger by coming in amongst the crowd. For she thought, now she was thinking to herself, if I just touch his garments, I will get well. Immediately the flow of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her affliction. Eh? Immediately she was healed. What was her faith level? What was her faith level? Let's just go back there. What was her faith level? Eh? After hearing about Jesus, she came up in the crowd behind him and touched his cloak. Eh? For she thought, if I just touch his garments, I will get well. That's faith. She thought to herself, Jesus doesn't have to lay hands on me. He doesn't have to pray for me. Her faith was so strong that she said to herself, if I just touch his garments, I will get healed. If we look at the father with his son, the father says, but if you can do anything, can you do anything? If you can do anything. The father was desperate. Take pity on us and help us. The woman with the issue of blood, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. The one was not correct and the one incorrect. Both believed in healing. That is the most important. Both believed in healing. The one had a greater expectation of the healing process because of their faith level in their belief. The woman with the issue of blood, her faith level was so strong in her belief that Jesus didn't have to speak to her. Jesus didn't have to pray for her because the healing was inside of her through her faith and her belief. Another one, Matthew 8, 5 to 13. And when Jesus entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him, imploring to him, and saying, Lord, my servant is lying paralyzed at home, fearfully tormented. Jesus said to him, I will come and heal him. But the centurion said, Lord, I am not worthy for you to come under my roof, but just say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I also am a man under authority, with soldiers under me, and I say to this one, go, and he goes. And I say to another, come, and he comes. And to my slave, do this, and he does it. Now when Jesus heard this, he marveled and said to those who were following, truly I say to you, I have not found such great faith with anyone in Israel. He doesn't say, I've not found such great belief. I have not found such great faith. I say to you that many will come from the east and west and recline at the table with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the sons of the kingdom will be cast out into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said to the centurion, go, it shall be done for you as you had believed. And the servant was healed at that very moment. Now he says here, Go, it shall be done for you as you have believed. Jesus connects belief and faith together. Because of your faith, it is done. Because of your belief, it has been done. It has been done. And great faith. You have great faith. Jesus says to the centurion, he says to everybody around, this centurion has great faith and he believes in his faith. He believes in it. It's not just something that is there. He believes in it. You know, we've shared 3 scenarios of healing. We all share our views as well of belief and faith. But the time is upon us that we need a new dimension of living in His presence. What is each and every one of us? What is our idea? What is our dimension about belief and about faith? It's great believing in Jesus Christ. He's the Son of the Father. It's great believing in the Holy Spirit. But what's our faith level? Will we trust Him with our lives? When we're sick, when our children are sick, when we are down and out, where do we go? It's time that we start doubting our doubts. We must start doubting our doubts. Is this really true? Is this really happening? And start believing our beliefs. When we start believing what we believe and start doubting those things that come into us, things will change drastically. Too often we doubt our beliefs and believe our doubts. That is when we get sicker and sicker and things become worse and worse in our lives. Peter stepped out of the boat in faith. He stepped out. When Jesus called him, he stepped out. He walked on water. Faith makes us arise and walk. Fear makes us sink. When he was out there, he started getting fearful of the wind and the waves, and he started sinking. Faith will find its way to the source of His power. The more faith we have, the greater our faith is, the greater the source of His power in us will be. The greater the source will be. We're going to have time this morning of prayer. And also the worship team, if they want to come up, some of them can come. Don't know what Pastor Mary Lowe decides. But we're going to have a time of worship and prayer now.